read the Bible. In fact, if you're not a stoner, read the Bible. There's some really good shit in there. But I studied the Bible, and I realized that God's a stoner. I'm serious. First page, God is known as the Most High. And check this out. On the sixth day, when he made the universe, the stars, the moon, the sun, everything, on the sixth day, he took time out to give us green herb. What did he do on the seventh day? He was too fucked up to do anything. That's what happened. He's a stoner. He looked around and said, fuck it, it's done. It's done. I'm done. He hasn't worked since, man. That's a true stoner, boy. But he turned Moses on. I love the Moses story. Moses talked to the burning bush. I've done that. God appeared to Moses in the form of a burning bush. I love that because that's what the bush is. It's God appearing to us in the form of a burning bush. What happens when we get high? What do? We feel love, don't we? That's that feeling, that high is love. You hear music, you hate it before, now you love it. You look at people you didn't like before, now you love them. Well, some people. But it's love, man. And that's what happened with Moses. God appeared to Moses in the burning bush, and I can see God on that mountaintop. He'd be looking around, he'd see Mo. Come on, Mo, come here. Looking all sad and shit, you know. Moses, come here. This bud's for Jews. Yeah. And that God dope stayed lit for 40 years, man. That's a hell of a roach, boy. 40 years. That bush burned for 40 years. And Moses, what did he do? He fucked off into the desert. And the people followed him and they were crying out after him. Moses, give us a hit, motherfucker. Come on. Shotgun, shotgun. And what were they looking for? Land and milk and honey. Fuckers had the munchies. Pot, you know, when I went to jail, I couldn't smoke pot in jail. So I did the next best thing. I got close to God. And the way I did it, I joined the Native American Indian Sweat Lodge. For those of you who don't know what a sweat lodge is, it's the native way of worship. In fact, every federal prison in North America is mandated to have a sweat lodge. And it took a lot of time to get it. And so I joined. When they asked me to join, I didn't know what a sweat lodge was. And so I went down there, and I'll tell you what it is. A little hut about this big, like a wigwam, and it's made out of whatever you can find in jail, you know, canvas and plastic sheets over top of it and everything. Inside, the center is cut out for a fire. It's like a fire pit. But before you're allowed into the sacred area, you have to be smudged and purified with sage, burning sage, or sweetgrass. But the sage, we use sage in jail. And what you strip down to your shorts, and then the chief smudges you with this sage. And what it does, it purifies you, but it also does a couple of things. It keeps the mosquitoes away, and it eliminates the funk. You know, because imagine 15 guys in a little lodge sweating, it get pretty ripe. The sage cures all that shit. After you've been smudged, you got to get on your hands and knees, and you enter on your hands and knees, showing respect again. And when you enter the sweat lodge, you are symbolically entering the womb of Mother Nature. You're going back into the earth. And so you go back in there. And then as you come in, you go around clockwise until you're all in sitting and you're facing the fire pit where they bring the stones. And once everybody's in, then they bring the stones in. And you're not allowed to talk unless you ask permission from the chief. Chief is the only one that's allowed to talk. And so once everybody's inside, then they bring the rocks. And the rocks have been heated 7-8 hours on the bonfire. And so they're big rocks about this big. And they bring them with a shovel. And then they take deer antlers and they work the rocks into the center of the pit. And after they get about, 8, 10 rocks in there, they close the flap. Then they start chanting. Ancient Lakota chants, and you play a drum. And they're after a while, man, I could translate what they were saying. I don't know Sioux Indian, the language, but I knew what they were saying. They were saying this, man. It's fucking hot in here. My balls have melted off. I'm going to fucking die. It got so hot, man. I tried to fall backwards and I couldn't move because I was jammed between people. It got so hot, man, I felt my spirit rise out of my body. And my spirit turned and looked at me and said, I'll be outside. 20 minutes. They played that fucking drum and finally they stopped and they opened the flap and they said, end of first round. Anybody wants to leave, you may leave. And so I tried to get up, but I got a cramp in my butt, man. And I was squeezed in there, and by the time I got up, they closed that fucking flap. Second round. 4 flaps later. There's only the chief and myself left. Everybody else had fucked off. We're the only ones left, and the chief looked at me, he's laying there, and he goes, Chong, you are a true warrior, my son. No one has ever survived 4 flaps on their first go. Then he looked at me and he realized that I was dead. Stick a fork in me, I was done, dude. But when they pulled me out into the cold air and I lay there and looked at the stars, I realized what had happened. It wasn't my spirit that left my body. It was my ego. Because that's why they sweat. Because the ego is what you want to get rid of when you go into battle. It's an ego. And the ego is the false sense of who you think you have to be in order to survive in society. And when you lose that ego, there's nothing left but the pure person. And that person is not brave, man. You're not crazy, but you're with God. You're totally with God. And that's why we do it. And it got to the point, man, I read about it. And sometimes the braves, it wasn't to make them angry. It was to make them be brave, to lose the ego. And sometimes they wouldn't even have to kill their enemy. All they had to do was walk up and look at him in the eye and touch him. And then walk away and just say, I'm brave. And that's so cool. And I think that everybody should do that. If you get a chance, to do it for sure. And then I combine the sweat lodge with another form of meditation, which I learned from the bikers. No, I'm talking about the Hell's Angel, man. There's a Hell's Angel. He was a meditator, and he had a great way of meditating. He'd sit in the activities room where everybody played cards and watched television, and he'd sit deep in meditation. He'd have his eyes closed, be meditating, but every once in a while he'd go, "Hey, shut the fuck up! I'm fucking meditating here!" But you know what we have to do with the world that we live in today, because it's our world, by the way. We're going to inherit it from all these fucks that are ruining it. Because we're still going to be here. They're not going to get rid of us. And to show you how weird America and Canada too, is to some respect, is that America's still trying to keep Mexicans out of what used to be Mexico. Yeah. They got what they call the border. And so right now we want to show you how we've treated that law. 30 years ago, Cheech wrote a movie and a song, and we're going to do it right now. It's called Born in East LA. Right here.